XM, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and I'm your host of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. So glad you're here today. We're going to talk about kittens, following on from my interview with Hannah Shaw last week. And we're going to talk about a brand new way of training your dogs. Brand new. Don't you love that? Oh, brand new means we're thinking and we're trying new things and we're developing and figuring out what's better for them and better for us. And so it's exciting. You may never have even heard of this. So I'm very excited to bring that news to you. But before we get going, I just want to let you know that if you are new to the show, we are a rock and roll show about pets, people, and pop culture. We're live from Las Vegas every single week. We bring on superior guests. We deliver current information, current research. We bring you inspirational people. We bring you people who are on the forefront of their area of expertise with animals. So we don't do anything old here. It's all new, all what's happening right now. And that's why we love doing this show. There's so much great stuff out there to teach us about animals and how we can better communicate with them and make their lives better and their health better. So we have superior guests on the show always. So before we get started, if you would like to connect with us in other ways, of course, we love it when you're listening live to the show. It's our favorite thing. A lot of people like to message us, text us pictures, ask us questions while we're live on the air. And we love that. We totally love it. So we'll answer some of those questions and we'll just share some of the comments that people make with us. But we love live radio. Absolutely love it. But if you do not have the opportunity to listen in live, because we are an international show, you may be in Australia and you may be sleeping and you miss the live show. Although we have had a guest that did get up in the middle of the night to come and interview with us. I'm so appreciative of that. But if you are one of those people that's in a different part of the world, they're just really busy and you love the whole on-demand aspect, then we've got you covered because our show, after it goes live, goes up as a podcast. And podcasting is big business right now. It's people love it. It's on demand. It's on my phone. I can listen when I'm driving to work, or going for a run, walking my dogs, all those kind of great things. And so if you go to iTunes, if you go to iHeartRadio, Spoke, which is the new app by SiriusXM, any other podcast app that you find, you will find us. We're always adding ourselves onto new platforms. So all you would do is search for Vegas Rock Dog Radio. There it is. And you can either binge listen, or you can just listen at your own leisure. If you miss an episode, it will be there. Now, my episode last week with Hannah Shaw, it was an hour show, and an hour and 15 later, there we were. We were still chatting. We could have spoken for 3 hours. There was so much to talk about. And so that show went up on the podcast this week, and it was our biggest downloaded show of all time in 5 solid years. So I knew it would have an impact. I knew people would be excited to learn what this cool rock and roll chick is doing with these kittens. And she's inspiring a whole new generation of people to get involved in saving kittens' lives. And so we're going to cover a fair bit of what I did this week with involving Hannah, aside from the show that we actually did. Now, if you want to connect with us elsewhere, as I said, aside from podcasting, you can find us on our website, vegasrockdogradio.com, and we'll pop up on Periscope once in a while. Facebook, we're of course always on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. And we have a blog, therockandrolldog.com, and we have an app. And you'll go to yap.us, YAPP.us. It is free. Download that free app and then download our show onto your app. Yeah, pretty easy. So there are some other places you can connect with us. And as I say, just search Vegas Rock Dog or Vegas Rock Dog Radio. You'll find us. We're everywhere. We aim to be everywhere. That's our goal. Our goal is to be everywhere with the current information so you can listen in and learn. And we always hope that you have fun when you listen to the show and walk away going, I didn't know that. Now I do know that. So let me tell you about what I did yesterday. No, not yesterday, the day before yesterday. as I say, we had this great interview with Hannah Shaw. She is the kitten lady. She is busting all those stereotypes of the crazy cat lady, because this girl has the best tattoos I've ever seen in my life. And she has just blown up on social media, sharing everything that she does for neonatal kittens. So that's kittens that are under the age of 8 weeks old. And they are a at-risk population, because a lot of people don't know how to look after a teeny tiny kitten when they find them. And if they take them into the shelter, often the shelters are not equipped and they don't have the staffing, or they're just not open 24 hours a day to give round-the-clock care. So they're at risk and they tend to be euthanized. And we want to change that. And Hannah's changing that, because she's conveying it is work. She's not saying it's not work, but she's saying it can be so much fun if you are well organized and you have a great plan and the right attitude, and you can save these lives. And that's exactly what she's doing. And she's showing in such a fun way through videos. The photography, oh my gosh, I Am the Great Went is her boyfriend on Instagram, and he's a cat photographer. I mean, it's just a match made in heaven. It's as simple as that. But what you'll find is she's changing people's perceptions of, oh, am I going to become that crazy cat lady? Where the next thing you know, I've got 20 cats and I don't know how to adopt them out, or I don't want to adopt them out. And, I mean, she's covering all bases when it comes to being a fosterer of kittens. She's covering all the bases, from assessment, from medical, going in with the right attitude, self-care, big topic right now in animal advocacy, self-care. It's all well and good, you caring about animals, but are you caring about yourself? Are you heading down the path of burnout? Are you heading down the path of compassionate care syndrome, which is a form of PTSD? Yep, it exists, for caring, and often seeing some horrific stuff, because when you work with animals and you're rescuing them, it's not always bright and cheerful. It's not. But she is trying to talk about this so that people learn how to look after themselves, so they can continue and be sustainable and continue saving these kittens. So here we go. So we have this great interview, and we have it. It becomes the biggest downloaded show we've ever had. It's still getting so many downloads, and I'm very happy about that. And Hannah also was in Vegas. She was in Vegas. And she was teaching a Save Kittens Lives class, 2-hour class. So off I went with my friends Alicia and Brandy, and there were well over 100 people in that auditorium, well over 100. That to me just made me very happy, simply because I think it's hard. A lot of rescues don't get on. They just don't, in certain cities, and a lot of squabbling and those kind of things, instead of focusing what they're doing, and not a lot of collaborating and helping each other. To see well over 100 people who care for cats currently and kittens, or who are what Hannah calls kitten curious, to be in this class was, to me, like, amazing, absolutely amazing. I was thrilled to see it. I was thrilled to see lots of people I knew. I was thrilled to see lots of people I didn't know that I needed to get to know in the community. And one of those was, I can't remember her first name, but I remember her Instagram account. It's called My Foster Kittens, and she's here in Vegas. She's very prominent in the area of saving kittens and in TNR programs. So her name will come to me. It'll come to me because I'll just check it on Instagram. But that's her account. And we'll bring her on the show as well as a local kitten rescuer, so that we can get some more information out about what's going on in our town, because we're a very hot town. Hot in many ways, but temperature wise, and do you know what that means? When we're nice and warm all year round, it means we constantly just seem to be dealing with kittens all year round. There's no breeding season, it's just all year round. So we do have a bigger issue than most cities, just because of our weather, so she's a busy girl. She's a really, really busy girl. So let me tell you about the class. As I say, well over 100 people there. Wonderful, wonderful. And what Hannah does is she gives you a blueprint. I should call it a blue paw print. That's what I should call it. A little blue paw print on how to care for neonatal kittens. And neonatal is under the age of 8 weeks, and they are at risk out of all animals, I would say, that come into the shelter. Young baby kittens that, you've got to really focus on how to care for them to have a chance to live and then eventually get into a home. What I found about the information that Hannah gave was this blueprint, and it was a very well structured blueprint of how to be a foster from beginning to end. And it was full of invaluable information for whether you were seasoned at looking after kittens, or whether you are a new foster, or you want to dive in. This was the way to go. This was the way to go. And she's not saying this is the definitive way of doing it, because you learn things year after year after year. And through community, you learn lots of things as well. And there were a couple of people that were in the audience, and one lady, and I loved her for saying this, she says, I've rescued kittens and cats for years and years and years, and I thought I knew it all. And I've learned some new things tonight. And I liked that, because at the end of the class, Hannah asked people, please, talk amongst yourselves, get to know each other in this community. Let's ask lots of questions of each other. Ask me lots of questions, and I want to learn from you as well. Community is a big thing. It's a big thing. It's powerful when people pull together. So that made me very happy yesterday. But let's start with a few statistics. Let's start with some statistics. So basically, 3.2 mil cats, kittens in shelters, 1.6 million get adopted. That's 50%. That's half euthanized. Half adopted, half euthanized. And we have to decide, we are no longer going to accept these numbers, even though they are improving. And I'm going to tell you what they are improving from and to. But we have to say, we're not accepting that. And we have to do it by the numbers, because that's how you track progress. That's how you track, is it working? Is it not working? Are we going forward or are we going backwards? And what are our best methods of increasing these survival and adoption rates? Here we go. 2011, 1.4 million were euthanized. In 2016, 860,000. So you can see adoption numbers are going up, and probably TNR probably has a lot to do with that, which is trap, neuter, spay, neuter, and release community cats. We're getting away from the term feral cats because it puts people off from helping them. Nothing wrong with cats that live in your community. I know it seems to be an odd thing here in the States. It's one thing I did notice from Europe, particularly in England, people have indoor-outdoor cats. They just do. And I rarely see a cat unless it is a community cat. It's a stark contrast, actually, as to why, people don't have indoor-outdoor cats. And so I think that often what happens is people see kittens and cats outside and go, oh my gosh, somebody must have dumped them. But we do have community cats that live outside. And so those TNR programs are valuable, as I say, especially in Vegas, since we have a warm climate and we've got kittens galore. We're never short for kitten around here. And so what they do is they trap them humanly. They're not actually harming them. They actually trap them. And they go to get fixed. They get vaccinated, and then their ear is tipped, which is the top of the ear is taken off. Don't get alarmed. Don't get alarmed. This is done while they get their spay neuters. They've tried other ways of trying to show really the word you couldn't show. You had to then trap a cat at one point and then see if it had been fixed, which is a total waste of time and resources, and a waste of your volunteer time. So they decided that the visual identification was so much more effective, so they could actually fix more of these cats and bring them back to where they were living. And that is the community cat that we're talking about. Now, some cities, that it is legal to have a colony of cats, a community of cats. Just check with your city. You don't have to do things under the shroud of darkness. I mean, I've had people come up to me and say, hey, Sam, I have a cat colony. I don't tell anyone. I mean, of course, I feed them and, water them, and they've got shelter. And I go, why are we whispering? What part of, you live in this city? Yeah, you're okay. You can have one. You need to just register it. And you commit to providing water, food, and shelter. Yeah, and they go, oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, you don't have to be creeping around at night time. So check in your city whether you can have a colony or not. And and you'll be able to help them in the daylight and the nighttime. But so there are two populations that we have to work with, and that is the neonatal kittens and the community cats. And once you get those programs underway, we'll start seeing massive, massive changes. So those are the numbers. And as I say, kittens are at risk because they do need round-the-clock care. And I don't mean, and Hannah explained this, it's not, oh my gosh, it's like a newborn baby. I'm never going to get any sleep. I'm going to do this, like give up my life. It's not like that at all. There's a lot of managing that goes into it to make it very, very efficient. So there you go. And of course, kittens do not do well in shelter environments. They just don't do well at all. So the more fosters we can get on board, the better. And fosters are the ones that are filling the gap. They're bridging the gap. Where, you find a kitten, some people, I don't know what to do, or they do the wrong thing, or they dump them at the shelter, and before you know it, they've been euthanized. So fosters, you are so valuable right now, so valuable. And as I say, community cats are at risk because the public tends to bring them in. It's not so much someone surrendered a cat, it's people bringing them in. And that, oh my gosh, I saw a kitten outside, or I saw a cat outside, and not understanding it can actually live outside. And if it's not been fixed, then there are avenues to go down to get that done for them, and then they can go back to living outside. But it is the public that bring them in through a panic. And so we're going to try and educate people on what to do when they see these cats. Yeah, so there you go. It's an interesting thing how sometimes the public can get involved and make it a little bit worse, and we don't want that. And as I say, we're getting away from the term of feral. It scares people. It scares people from helping them, becoming a foster or being part of a TNR program. And we want to get people on board, and we want people to enjoy getting on board. So here we go. I want to read out some of the points that Hannah went over yesterday in the 2-hour class. It went so quickly, but this is probably, I would say, the best class I've been in a couple of years as far as a plan, preparation and a plan, how to execute the whole plan, and then have a very, very happy outcome at the end. The first thing she starts off, this pamphlet you can actually get from her website. It's called Orphan Kittens, A Guide to Saving the Tiniest Felines. And her website is no, it's not. Her website is kittenlady.org. You'll find all the resources on there. And the first thing she says in the pamphlet is, thank you for saving kittens' lives. So you've decided, I'm going to care for a kitten. How do I do this? And she goes, don't worry, you can do it. Yes, you can do this. So you've got a cheerleader right from the beginning. And so we've talked about how these kittens become orphaned. They're generally born outside to free roaming cats, the community cats. And then they're picked up by people who do care about them. And they don't know that the mother is probably right in the vicinity. And other times they could well be truly orphaned solely by themselves, and no one is caring for them. So you find this cat and you go, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so this is where you can get armed with information and know what to do. One of the cats that became so famous was little Tidbit, and with her love and care and knowledge, Tidbit went on to a great life. So these success stories are brilliant. Now, she said there are some things you do need to consider. And I think everyone should do this no matter what kind of animal you want to foster. Of course, time. But time for a kitten is a very short-term commitment. And they get adopted after about 8 or 9 weeks. So your time can be quite short with them. So if you got a brand new little teeny kitten that's just been born, you can expect 8 or 9 weeks before you have to say a happy goodbye. Yeah? But she said you do need to prepare to wake up in the middle of the night when kittens need to be bottle fed. If they need to be bottle fed, you're going to have to wake up, yeah? And they do require this round-the-clock care, but she says the care does not take very long. Just a few minutes of care every few hours can save their lives. I think that's the number one most important thing that she said yesterday was, yes, you're going to have them 24 hours a day, you are. You can have them for at least 8 to 9 weeks, yeah, but you won't be giving up your life. You'll be able to manage your time quite easily. And yeah, there is some round-the-clock care and some nighttime stuff, but it's only for a few minutes. And so she lays it out for you in a space. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't have space for a kitten. And she made me laugh yesterday. She said, have you seen a kitten? It's so small. They're just tiny little beings. And so space, they don't require a lot of space. She said, in fact, for the first few weeks of life, they're pretty content to sleep in a small carrier all day. Or she sometimes uses, that plastic tote bins, and they're not huge, and that's their little world. And she says, if you can fit a container like that, a tote or a carrier on your coffee table, you're good to go when it comes to looking after kittens. She says it's pretty easy, and you're going to make them up a little space that's soft, temper controlled, very clean and sanitized and separated from other animals. So the goal is not to integrate the kitten with your other animals. So she wants you to keep them separate for obvious reasons, their health and just to be able to keep them nice and calm so she can feed them and they can sleep and go to the bathroom. And so this is not going to impact your pets. It is not. So if you say, oh gosh, I got a dog that's never going to cope with this, your dog's not going to be spending time with the kitten. You can very easily manage that space. And so she said, don't let that be something that puts you off. Now, of course, you're going to have some portability. You've got to move these cats around with you, because if you've got to be feeding a teeny tiny little kitten, it's got to go with you. So a lot of people will go with the little carriers, and they're discreet, non-intrusive. Some people take them to work and their boss doesn't know. But more and more bosses are becoming, and companies are becoming more pet friendly. And I don't think they would object. I mean, the bag's going to fit under your desk anyway. And she said, while you would normally go out and, have a lunch, then you'll take, she said, 4 minutes to go and feed your kitten. Feed your kitten and help your kitten go to the bathroom. That's it. And then the day continues. So she said, don't be scared. Ask your boss, say, hey, I'm going to be fostering a kitten. Is there any chance I can bring the kitten in? This is what it involves. And it's only a few minutes every few hours to take care of them, which you'll be taking breaks anyway. So, talk to them. It'd be great to get more and more companies on board. Wouldn't that be amazing? If you get a company that said, we are for the next 3 months, 2 months, whatever, we're encouraging our employees to become fosters for kittens, and they'll be able to bring them into work, and we'll support that. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? And if you know of a company that does it, let us know, because we want to be able to give them a high five for that. Now, cost of care is something that people are going to bring up. Oh, I don't think I can afford to look after a kitten. Well, if you are fostering through, typically through a shelter or through a rescue, there's usually some help when it comes to the food side of this and any medications and those kind of things. So just, ask what they provide, and if that makes it easier for you, then that's another thing you can check off the list. Now, I think the biggest fear of all is becoming really, really attached. Of course, you just love animals at first sight, don't you? But she says, don't worry about saying, I'll never be able to say goodbye, because the goal is to say goodbye. And you have to go in with that attitude of, hey, little one, guess what? We get to find you a home in 8 weeks, 9 weeks. It's going to be such an amazing day to celebrate. So if you go in with the right attitude, Jim and I, although we've not fostered, we've found quite a few dogs who've lived with us until we found them homes. But we always had in mind, we need to find this dog a home. And it always worked out. And the great thing is you do get to see them again. Generally, if they're in your area, people will send you updates. But if you go with that right attitude, instead of talking yourself into, I'm going to be devastated, that you're going to have a much, much better outcome. And just know that few weeks of care has made a lifelong impact. And she talks about you then at that point, she said, get your life back. You can go away for a lovely weekend. You can just, make a plan. Make a plan, say, I'm going to take a week off and take 2 weeks off, a month off before I bring the next kitten in. So you get to manage that time, and that way you won't get overwhelmed. And I think that's great because it's your choice. And I think that's a big part of it, being sustainable and being very, very successful. Well, of course, she wants to prep you. You got to get ready. You got to get ready for a kitten just as you get ready for a baby. So some of the tips that she has are keep them cozy, keep them fed, keep them healthy, keep them clean. And each one of those things have a whole list of what you need. For example, keep them cozy, top opening carrier for younger kittens, micro fleece baby blanket, a heating disc or a heating pad. There's one by Snuggle Safe. I looked at it yesterday. Fantastic. You heat it up in the microwave, wrap it up. It comes in a cover in itself, and it can help them with the body temperature. And I think she said it lasted for 5 hours. And of course, it needs some little plush toys, and you can use a small playpen if you want to, a little animal playpen for keeping kittens over 3 weeks. You wouldn't do that prior to that. And this most adorable thing called the Snuggle Kitty, and it's a stuffed animal with a battery operated heart. It was so cute, but it just keeps them company, keeps them cozy, as she said. And so she has these 4 points, and there are bullet points underneath as to what you need to purchase for each of those areas of being cozy, healthy, fed, and clean. And of course, she said you've got to prepare your space. And she shows you the most effective way of doing that. It doesn't take up a ton of space, and preparing yourself. So you've got to have, if you don't have a veterinarian lined up because you're not working directly through a group or through a shelter, then you'll need to do that. And you'll just try and connect with other people who do this. So you've got some support and someone to turn to. Or, as Kitten Lady says, my website is there 24 hours a day with videos. And if you're in the middle of the night, you need help, there'll be a video that you can play and get the answers. So I really liked that about her website. And she teaches you how to assess kittens, because some people will say, well, kittens come at different stages. So, is there a difference between neonatal and a kitten? Yes, there is. Oh, yes, there is. By the time they get to 8 weeks, they look very different from a newborn kitten. And she helps you understand and identify what they look like. For example, a newborn will still have its umbilical cord attached, its eyes closed, and at 97 degrees, it can't regulate its temperature. So she lines up what you'll be able to identify the age of the kitten, what it needs at that point. I think it's brilliant, and then you'll be able to see at what stage they are. And each stage requires different level of caring. And she lays all that out for you. No mystery to half of this, It's just clear. Then there's a care routine, and she explains how much you're going to feed them, when you're going to feed them, and you're also going to be tracking the weight with their age so that you can see if they're on track. She teaches you how to feed the orphan kittens, and that was really interesting, really, really interesting, because she did a lot of things that were from the perspective of the kitten, how they feed, how they play, how they interact with their mothers, and that's why I think there's such great success with her program. Bathroom business is another thing. A lot of people may not know this, but it's the mother cat that helps the kitten go to the bathroom by stimulating them, by licking them. Yeah. Now, of course, she was saying, I don't want you licking your kitten, but we're going to stimulate that with a tissue to get them to go to the bathroom. Many people do not know this. So that's a very important thing, as to how they're going to go to the bathroom, and you are going to help them. And there are lots of things that she says you can look out for that's going to help you understand their current health, the dangers of diarrhea. She goes through litter training, and then she goes through the standard routine care for kittens. She talks about fleas, common ailments, and then covers, of course, emergency situations so that you know what you're looking for, when to pick up that phone and get yourself off to the veterinarian. Then she talks about them growing up, weaning them, socializing them, finding a home, and then saying the happy, happy goodbye. And if you haven't followed Hannah yet, go to Instagram and find her at Kitten X Lady. Yeah, Kitten X Lady. And just take a look at the photography. I mean, we've got kittens with little paper crowns on. We've got a kitten in a little aeroplane. But this is showing that this is a big day. It's a big celebration. You get to find a home, and that's really important. And then she does cover compassion fatigue, as we talked about earlier, and self-care is important. While you're feeding your kittens, have you fed yourself? Have you thrown a granola bar in your bag while you're out on the go? While you feed your kitten, feed yourself, because unless you are taking care of yourself, it's hard to take care of others. This pamphlet, valuable. You can find this on her website, and the website is kittenlady.org. If you want to watch some of the videos, you can access everything through the website, but if you're a YouTuber, you can go to Kitten Lady on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. She is Kitten X Lady, and this is her mission. She says, Kitten Lady's mission is to change the world for the tiniest and most vulnerable felines. Kitten Lady reaches countless caring individuals across the globe with educational media containing inspiring and life-saving information, and collaborates with shelters to advance protection and programs for kittens. Wonderful. It's probably been one of the best weeks I've ever had when it comes to animal care and learning about them and just being around people who are inspirational. She's definitely one of those people. She does have some great quotes. I've got to give you some good quotes here. And one of them was, try it once, see if you like it. Give it a go. Give it a go. Another thing that she likes to say is prevent kittens when you can and save kittens when you must. View a kitten, she says, view a kitten from a kitten's perspective and how it would function with its own mother. So, for example, we talked about the feeding earlier. Well, kittens feed from their mothers while they lay on their own bellies. So never feed a kitten on its back. They can aspirate milk into their lungs. Great tip. Important to their health that they're fed the right way and how they would normally feed with their mothers. And you know, a few minutes of care every few hours can save a kitten's life, as she said earlier. And I just think she's really making some big impact on people that love animals and getting them to understand kittens and how we can help save their lives and get them into homes. And it was just a great week. It was just such a great week. And she says, if they can be saved, it's our duty to save them. Yes, you can do this. Oh my gosh. I don't think anyone could even imagine having such a cheerleader as they have in Hannah. You cannot deny her passion and her excitement and how to make it fun. That I think she's going to attract a younger generation of people that typically do not foster. I think she's going to inspire a younger generation to get involved. And I'm very, very happy to have met Hannah, and we will be staying in touch. In fact, I'm going to see her at CatCon next week. She's going to think I'm stalking her like a cat. But I will see you down at CatCon in LA next week. So I hope you found a lot of that helpful and inspiring. And I say, just hop on over to our website so that you can get some more information. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroil burgers, we also make your dogs happy. Come through our drive-thru with your furry friends and we'll offer them a treat. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, carlsjroflasvegas.com, has a treat in store for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so visit us often. Carl's Jr. is a proud and active supporter of animal adoption in our community. You can find us at carlsjroflasvegas.com.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a big segment, but I was excited to share that with you. Big segment. And I say that's almost just kind of touching the top of the iceberg. There's so much more to learn. Now, Hannah is doing a tour right now. I've forgotten where her next stop is, but there is another educational class coming up. But hop on over to the website. Hopefully she's in your city, or you can travel to the class itself. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the top of the show, there's a new way of training your dogs. It's called DAID. DAID. It's an acronym. It's an acronym for Do As I Do. It's a brand new dog training technique, and it rivals clicker training, which I've been a big fan of clicker training. It's inexpensive, it's simple, it's easy, it works very quickly. Now, Dr. Karen Becker, who I missed last week at Super Super, did get to speak to her niece, which is her right-hand woman in, running Dr. Becker's business. And that's anything from her treats to the talks that she does. I mean, so she has a lot going on. And so Dr. Becker brought this up in an article, and it's called social learning. You may already be doing social learning, but you didn't know it was called social learning. And so the social learning is the act of learning via observation and was long considered to be a uniquely human ability. Then chimpanzees were found to possess the ability to learn by watching or imitating others, and soon it was revealed that many non-human animals, including dogs, can learn socially as well. Remember we did that show a few weeks ago, and I'd watched a documentary on Netflix, and I think it was called The Life of Dogs, and that was one of the things that they had uncovered through science, which was dogs are really good at mimicking, at copying you, and it's kind of an overlooked skill that they have that if you really pay attention, you can incorporate that into your training. So this has a lot to do with that. So currently, many positive dog training programs focus on clicker training, which uses individual learning. They call it operant conditioning to teach dogs. So when the dogs, does the desired behavior you want them to do, you make a click. The little clicker, it costs about $2. It's so cheap. And when they hear that sound, it lets the dog know, ooh, you're on the right track. And often they get a treat or they get lots of praise. Yeah, so it's positive. A relatively new type of training, though, is this Do As I Do, or DAID, and it uses social learning instead, and research suggests it may be even more effective than clicker training in teaching dogs new behaviors. So they're saying that this DAID training outperforms standard clicker training, and dogs are adept at imitating and observing humans. It's true. So it makes sense that social learning would be an effective method for dog training. The method involves first teaching your dogs to perform a set of behaviors displayed by a human when the human command do it is said. Yeah? So you have to say do it or do as I do. The command can then be used to direct dogs to perform novel behaviors learned by observation. I think we talked about the yawning thing. Remember we talked about the yawning? Yawn in front of your dog. See what happens. I'm just imagining you doing it right now. Yawning your head off in front of your dog. So Claudia Fugaze, PhD of, I don't even know how to pronounce this one. It's Budapest, but it's EOTVOS, EOTVOS, Lorand University in Budapest, Hungary, created the DAID method, and her colleague Adam Miklosi, PhD, conducted a study to determine the effectiveness of DAID compared to clicker training. And dogs were taught to open a sliding cabinet door. My dog can already do that without even showing him. Using either DAID or the clicker training methods, but dogs in the DAID group were more likely to learn the behavior within 30 minutes and to learn the behavior faster than dogs in clicker groups. Further, dogs taught using DAID were more likely to remember what they'd learned in 24 hours, including performing it in response to a verbal cue as well as in a new context. That's interesting. So there's one caveat pointed out by Karen B. London, PhD. She's a certified applied animal behaviorist and certified professional dog trainer. The dogs also received reinforcement for the correct behaviors, which means they also received some amount of operant conditioning. So it could be more accurate to conclude that DAID, in combination with operant conditioning, may be more effective than operant conditioning alone. Still, the researchers concluded that their results show that the Do As I Do method is more effective than shaping clicker training to teach dogs object-related actions within a relatively short time, and suggest that this method might be also applied for training body movements. Importantly, the use of social learning enhances dogs' memory and generalization of the learned actions and its verbal cue. Very interesting, isn't it? And there are, she points out some other types of training methods that work for dogs, and your dog's ability to learn is only limited by what you're willing to teach them. And in reality, you'll probably use multiple methods of teaching, and that's ideal. Whatever works. It was great. Like people, certain dogs may respond differently to different methods of learning, and you'll likely find what works best for you and your dog may be different from what works for your neighbor and their dogs. There is a video where Dr. Sophia Yin, she was a veterinarian and world-renowned animal behaviorist. She believes training your dog comes down to rewarding the behaviors you want, removing rewards for unwanted behavior, or with the right timing. And Yin also teaches dog owners to learn how to read their dog's body language and make training fun, positive experience. If you want to know about your dog's body language, you can download the app Dog Decoder by Jill Breitner. You'll learn so much about body language, and you might be surprised. What you thought you were reading as body language, you were completely wrong. But it's a great app. It's a really great app. Some of those body language movements can be very subtle. So you know what to look for. It'll be a whole other level of communication. In teaching your dog to sit, for instance, you may use 30 positive reinforcement, like, for example, treats within a couple of minutes. And this is just one example. Also discusses how she helps owners train their dogs to control their impulses and the importance of training not just desirable behaviors, but also teaching the dog that good behavior is a habit. You can find out more on the video above. So we'll find you the video. We'll put that up for you. Being positive, of course, it is a key thing. You never want to be dominant and negative towards your dogs. You want to just have a really great, respectful bond between the two of you. And, she talks a little bit about, if it's not positive, it can have so many awful adverse effects. For example, if you use choke collars, if you use prong collars, if you use electric collars, which a lot of the companies now want to call them remote e-collars. They're shock collars, just so that you know that. Marketing can be quite deceptive these days. And, of course, working with a trainer who is working on those lines and certified in that area, there are far too many uneducated, old-school dog trainers out there. And you can tell them because they're using those old methods. And if they were reading and continuing their education and they cared, they would change how they train dogs. It's very obvious to see who's old school, who's new school. There's such a distinct difference. And I think we need to know what to look for when we're looking for a trainer. And that's something we're going to cover on a future show. What do you look for? What do you ask for? I don't know. I have a friend that's hired a trainer, and the trainer showed up with a shock collar. You can imagine how well that went down. It just didn't. It was like, you need to leave right now. I'm not shocking my dog. So we'll help you out with that, and we'll get you some great tips on what to ask and what to look for when you're looking for a real dog trainer. And there are some very highly qualified trainers that you need to be looking for and understanding what it is they do and why you would want to work with them. So I think it's great. I think it's really great. But this Fugazi's imitation DAID method, there's a book, and it's called Do As I Do, Using Social Learning to Train Dogs. And there are 5 steps to that. And you can follow through on the 5 steps. And number 1 is come up with short, preferable one-word commands for the behavior you want to teach your pet. Examples: come, sit, stay, down, heel, off. Make sure all members of your family consistently use the same word. Yeah, we don't want to confuse them. And as soon as your dog performs, the desired behavior reward is an immediate reward. And it can be treat, can be verbal. And you do this every time that they respond appropriately. And you want them to connect the behavior with the treat, or, that lovely praise that they get and those kisses and lots of love. And then you would just keep training short, fun sessions. Don't wear your dogs out. You want them to associate good things with the commands, and also you want to use training time as an opportunity to deepen your bond with your pet. Bond is important, really important. And then eventually those treats disappear, and then it becomes this verbal praise, and you just continue as positive reinforcement to maintain the behaviors you desire. And reward-based training helps create a range of desirable behaviors in your pet, which builds mutual feelings of trust and confidence. Do as I do. You know how you see people teach their dogs how to dance? You go, wow, how did they do that? the dogs will mimic. They will mimic. Look for that documentary on Netflix. I think it's called A Dog's Life. Love the documentary. It's so interesting. Learn so much more about your four-legged friends. Well, maybe you've got a three-legged friend or a two-legged friend. That's possible. Well, on that note, let's take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about an incredible story about a cat in Australia. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome to Barking Dog Self-Wash and Grooming, your one-stop shop for all your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Visit our Cool Cat section offering feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. And don't forget Cody's Healing Garden, featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Find us at www.barkingdogslv.com, and we look forward to seeing you in our neighborhood.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. So glad you're still with us. Got a great story to tell you here. When I did a double take when I read it at first. And this was a poison cat saved from death with a strong drink of vodka. Yep, talk about a headline. There you go. Tipsy the cat. Oh my gosh, did they name the cat that before? Or is that a nickname after? Tipsy the cat may have lost one of his 9 lives, but he is still kicking thanks to a strong drink. The jet black stray was found suffering near a tyre store in Brisbane, Australia. And this news article was on ABC News. His rescuers said the feline was near death when he was found, prompting his saviours to rush him to an RSPCA animal hospital. And that's the Royal Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, by the way, in case you didn't know. Started off in England. In fact, I want to say it started off in my hometown in Sheffield, England. I think I'm correct in my little piece of history there. They said he couldn't stand and he couldn't lift his head, and he was hypothermic, and he was having convulsions and really having a hard time breathing. And the veterinarian that took care of him, her name was Sarah Canther, she told the news station about the condition that the cat arrived in. I mean, terrible symptoms, really. Based on where he was found and his severe symptoms, Canther determined that Tipsy had slurped down some antifreeze. That's something we don't deal with where I live, of course, because we don't have freezing weather. Once in a blue moon, we might go to 0. But we don't have to use anything like that. But in other areas of the world, you definitely have to use it. So the coolant is extremely toxic to pets, and it actually tastes very sweet to them. So that's why they're attracted to it. And ingesting the liquid is often a death sentence for cats. Thankfully, Tipsy arrived at the hospital inside the hour window where something could be done. Bear that in mind. You've got an hour to get your pets in. And for such a serious problem, the solution was simple. Tipsy just needed a few shots of vodka. Can you believe I just said that? Those words came out of my mouth. With the feline already going into renal failure, the staff acted fast, hooking up Tipsy to an IV connected to a diluted bottle of vodka. It just so happened that one of our nurses had a bottle of vodka laying around. Okay. All right. So we were able to administer it just in time to save his life, said the doctor. This drunken antidote works because it gives the cat's body something to process aside from the toxic antifreeze. Basically, once you put the alcohol into the blood, it metabolizes that instead, and then it gives the antifreeze time to pass in a less toxic form, said the vet. Staff at the animal hospital said that a little Tipsy was having a jolly good time receiving his treatment, especially compared to the sorry state he was in just moments before. After a night of heavy drinking, which he had about 20 mils of vodka over about 12 hours, plenty of non-alcoholic liquids and rest, Tipsy is expected to make a full recovery from his brush with death. Now, his rescuers, they said, are focused on finding him a home since Tipsy arrived at the animal hospital with no microchip, and the RSPCA is waiting to see if an owner comes forward. No one has claimed Tipsy as yet, so he had been moved to a foster home. So back to those lovely foster people that do save those lives and step up, and will be put up for adoption in a few weeks once his kidneys are fully rested. He's a great cat for anyone looking for a party animal, he said. And here's the important note at the bottom. While vodka was the life-saving solution for Tipsy, pet owners should never give their pets alcohol. Leave that to your professionals. And if you believe your cat has ingested antifreeze, take it to an animal hospital immediately for treatment. Yeah? So a very, very great ending to that story. But yeah, who knew? Who knew? But it makes sense when they explain that, doesn't it? It makes complete sense. Well, everyone, it looks like we have come to the end of the show. As I say, I wanted to bring to you information about little kittens and how you can get involved and save their little lives, and also some new training techniques that are on the horizon. Do as I do. So I say, go yawn in front of your dog and tell me next week what happened. So, of course, we love you to share the show if you enjoyed the show, especially if you're using a smartphone. Dead easy to share it on your social media. Let's get the word out there, get more people tuning in. As I say, we like to make sure we have the best of the best guests and the most current information available to us to share with you. Now, remember, you can help an animal in need, either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, share their information, or foster a kitten. Rescue your next family member, replace the word shop with adopt, and be kind to all animals. It's been my absolute pleasure being here for you today. Please take a moment and like us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and definitely post pictures of your pets. We love to see their cute faces. And today you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. And I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always kiss your pets good morning and good night.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our hosts as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.